Cassiopeia, the Serpent's Embrace. The youngest child of General Ducateau, Cassiopeia was born to a life of possibility and privilege among the Noxian noble houses. From an early age, she displayed a keen mind and sharp wit, and while her sister Katerina flourished under their father's tutelage, it was their mother Soriana in whose footsteps Cassiopeia would follow. A hero of Noxus's expansion into Shurima, General Ducateau eventually sent for his family, installing them close to the governor of the coastal city of Uzeris. Surrounded by strangers in an unfamiliar land, Cassiopeia remained close to her mother, learning much of politics, diplomacy, and subtle influence. As she grew, Cassiopeia could not help but glimpse other, hidden concerns within Soriana, beyond those of the Empire. One day, quite unexpectedly, Soriana collapsed in the family residence. Her hairbrush had been laced with caustic venoms by an unknown hand, leaving her close to death. General Ducateau was well versed in the ways of an assassin, and so had all the household staff removed, leaving his wife and daughters alone in an empty house. Still little more than a child, Cassiopeia never left her mother's bedside. While Soriana's recovery took many months, the bond between them became stronger than ever before. When the general was recalled to Noxus to prepare for the long-awaited invasion of Ionia, he took Katerina with him, but Cassiopeia remained in Uzeris. Seemingly relieved, Soriana confided in her daughter that she belonged to a clandestine and secretive cabal, known by some as the Black Rose. Having guided the Empire for centuries, they had finally managed to spread their influence into Shurima. Now free of her husband's watchful eye, Soriana's real work could begin. In time, and under her mother's tutelage, Cassiopeia blossomed into a young woman of tremendous beauty, cunning, and intelligence, if somewhat lacking in empathy. She saw those around her as tools to be used to achieve her goals, and then cast aside just as quickly. Though she had barely reached the cusp of womanhood, she was initiated into the Black Rose by hunting down and eliminating those who had sought the death of her mother. She surprised even Soriana with her speed and efficiency, and left no trace of her activities, or her proxies, behind. Only then was Cassiopeia made privy to the Cabal's broader plan for Shurima. Using her family's tremendous resources, she undertook a number of expeditions into the deep desert, raiding ancient ruins with the help of a local mercenary named Sivir. Her efforts were made all the more urgent when word reached Uzeris from the capital. Grand General Borum Darkwill had been deposed by Jericho's Swain, and a number of noble houses had chosen to honor this coup, including Ducateau. Outraged and disgusted by her husband's betrayal, and fearing that all members of the Black Rose were now in jeopardy, Soriana became desperate. She dispatched Cassiopeia to seek out the godlike power that had been the key to Shurima's supremacy in ages past. Cassiopeia swore she would return with a weapon ready for the looming secret war, or not at all. Fulfilling this oath would leave her changed forever. Upon unearthing a long-lost tomb of the mythical Ascended, she knew this was the threshold to the power she sought, and intended to dispatch all witnesses from her expedition before claiming it. The guide Sivir was the first to fall to Cassiopeia's blade, and then an ancient stone tomb guardian reared up and buried its fangs into her flesh. Overcome by its arcane toxins, she was carried back through the desert by her hired soldiers, screaming as her body twisted into something new and unspeakable. Cassiopeia locked herself in the disused crypt of the Uzeris residence, and endured the untold agonies of this transformation. Gone was the brilliant and beautiful daughter of Soriana Ducateau, replaced by a monstrous, slithering creature that skulked in the shadows, spitting poison and crushing stone as easily as glass. For weeks she wept and howled, grieving her lost life, until the day she could weep no more. She dragged herself up from the depths of despair, determined to accept, maybe even someday embrace, her fate. It was not the ascension she had hoped for, but Cassiopeia had unearthed the magic of dead Shuriman gods. She would turn it to the schemes of the Black Rose, just as she and her mother had planned, and she could feel this power growing within her, day by day. Though into what, even she cannot guess.